Hello everyone! After owning the AJ159 APEX mouse for about a month and a half, I thought I'd share my thoughts, not as a tech peripheral snob, but as a regular guy. My previous mouse, the Razer Viper Ultimate, is 3 years old now, and the side buttons have basically stopped working, so I needed a new one, but I wasn't willing to pay 150 euros for a new one, especially in today's world and economy. That just seemed ridiculous. So I looked for alternatives and found this company, Attack Shark or Ajazz. They basically collaborated to create the AJ159 APEX mouse, so I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. The mouse comes in a pretty good looking package, nice and neatly packed. Inside you'll find the mouse, additional mouse case, grip tape, USB-C cable and charging dock. Unfortunately, there is no dongle included. Everything is integrated into charging dock. Weirdly, on the bottom of the mouse there is a spot for a dongle, but it's empty. So I paid 72 euros for this mouse, including shipping to Eastern Europe, and it arrived in about 2 or 3 weeks, I can't exactly remember. I bought it directly from the seller on the attackshark.com website. You also can get this mouse cheaper on aliexpress.com. The mouse has a frosty looking texture. It's a matte finish, and this finish really loves to collect fingerprints, so it's always looking greasy and it's also very slick. It's a good thing that Ajazz or Attack Shark included grip tapes, because just after a couple hours of use I couldn't stand the material of this mouse is made of. The funny thing is, the mouse material, the plastic they used, is more slippery and slick than the mouse skates. In my book, that's a huge con. A huge con. I mean, it doesn't look or feel cheap, but this material is definitely not suited for this kind of application. Now about the size. It's a pretty small mouse compared to the Viper Ultimate. According to the manufacturer's specification, this mouse is only 6mm smaller than the Viper Ultimate, but in reality it looks and feels way smaller than that. You can take a look. 2 completely different mice and 2 completely different sizes, definitely not just a 6mm difference. But even though I was used to the Viper Ultimate, this one is really comfortable, so that's a pro in my book. The manufacturer claims that the mouse has 8000 Hz polling rate, and yeah, it does. It does have an 8000 Hz wireless polling rate. It uses the PAW3950 sensor, one of the newer ones on the market compared to what other manufacturers use. Although I really don't feel any difference between 8 and 1K, for me it's just a gimmick. I just want to treat myself with technologically advanced mouse. It offers many different modes, like 1, 2, 4 and 8K, and the only difference I notice between these is how fast they drain mouse battery. I'm not a pro gamer or pro anything, which is probably why I don't see any difference. I mean, it works great, that's all I care about. Now, battery life. Using the mouse regularly for about 8 to 10 hours a day, not extremely heavy use, more like light use, I got these numbers. On 1K polling, the battery lasts up to 9-10 days, on 2K mode up to 5-6 days, 4K up to 2-3 days, and 4K drains the life out of your mouse in 1 day. You can easily charge your mouse by placing it on a charging dock, but it doesn't offer very fast charging speeds. From 0 to 100% took about 3 hours. I think the last few percent took extra long because in just few minutes after placing mouse on the dock, the battery bar goes up by 1 or 2 bars. Unfortunately, you can't see the actual percentage, so I believe charging mouse from 0 to let's say 90 or 95% would take about 1 hour, but in general the battery life is pretty average, I guess. Mouse has 3 connection modes, 2.4 GHz wireless, wired and Bluetooth. However, in wired mode you can only get a maximum polling rate of 1K. Ajazz used the Huano green switches for this mouse, which are rated to withstand up to 100 million clicks. They sound okay, I guess. I never heard a mouse that sounds good, to be honest, but I'm not a fan of the mouse wheel. It has a hard click. I can't really describe it, just have a listen. Now about the mouse skates. I wouldn't call them amazing, but they're not bad by any means. I use a HyperX Pulsefire mat, which has a pretty rough surface, more of a control type mouse mat, so I can't really glide any mice on this mat without some friction. I'd say the skates are better than the Viper Ultimate stock ones, but a little worse than Talon Games PTFE skates, but in general, they are pretty okay. This mouse weighs 56 grams according to the provided specifications, which is a lie, because every review I watched and my own scale shows 58 grams, and with the grip tape, it weighs 59 to 60 grams. But since I don't have weak girly hands, this is no problem. It's a very light mouse, sometimes even too light for my taste. Over time, I got used to the Viper's ultimate weight of 80 grams, and even today those 80 grams seem very light. And quick PSA. If you complain about the mouse weighing less than 100 grams being too heavy, you need to stop mashing buttons and start lifting weights. Okay? Okay. Moving on to the software. It has a lot of features. You can change the polling rate, add different GIFs and images to your charging dock screen, and the charging dock screen can show the battery level, time, date, all sorts of different things, so that is great. Also, mouse has up to 42,000 DPI setting. I don't understand who needs that, but I mean, yeah, good to know it's there, I guess. In software, you can change the mouse double-click interval time, add macros, change button functions, and tweak settings that I don't even understand, so yeah, the software is packed. Ironically, what I love most about this mouse is that it doesn't have RGBs on it, only one red LED light that indicates charging or low battery. However, there are RGBs on the charging dock, and you cannot control them with the software. There's one dedicated button on the charging dock that controls everything, and let me tell you, it is terrible. There are three modes: static, breathing, gradient. No matter what, you have to look at the rainbow puke. You cannot just set one or two static colors, no, you have to watch the unicorn's puke. I asked the manufacturers if they're going to do anything about that, and I got negative answer. I want to mention that I bought this mouse with my own money, and this is not sponsored video. When the mouse arrived, I had one insanely huge problem, well, at least in my eyes, or I should say ears. The left mouse button was squeaking. I told the manufacturer about the problem, sent evidence, and without any further ado, they sent me a replacement. Still, I didn't feel like throwing the mouse away, so I fixed it using pliers, a file, and a keyboard lube. Now, it sounds like it's supposed to. Plus, I got additional mouse. In conclusion, the mouse has pros, cons, and let's say useless gimmicks for non-pro users. There are also meh features that aren't cons or pros, just meh, you know? So the pros, I'd say the shape, weight, charging dock, spare pack of mouse skates, grip tape, and software functionality. Cons: the mouse material texture, charging dock RGB, and the lack of small wireless USB dongle. This is a con simply because you can't use the mouse freely while traveling unless you use Bluetooth mode. But who the hell wants that? Gimmicks: 8K polling rate and 42K DPI setting. And the meh section: the mouse skates, mouse switches, battery life, and the charging time. So there you have it, a regular guy's review. I hope you find my experience with this mouse useful. If you enjoyed this review, consider leaving a like on this video and subscribing. And I hope you have an excellent day. Goodbye.